We're on live.
We're good to go.
All right, great. This is a mayor-manager meeting on August 18th, my son's birthday, at 8:31. And in the room is Linda Olson, Allison McKinney-Brown, Jade Truscott-Reed, Othaniel Sierra, Stephanie Carlisle, and Shawn Lewis. The virtual room.
Will we ever have one of these in person again?
I don't think so. Why would we?
This is the perfect meeting for this meeting. Well, we will start with August 24th study session items. And well, the whole thing is a study session, yes. Oh, no, it's not.
It should be. I apologize. That one should not be on that one.
Oh, okay. So we start with the follow-up to the 2021 draft budget. We're working on a number of things for that. We've got the cuts that we're bringing back to you up to 1.5 million plus some, and we've also separated out the ongoing from the one-time like council's asked. So we'll be ready to go over that with you. Study session item number 2, return to in-person meetings. And then finally, water and sewer utilities rate and fee study. This is your third update on that as we continue to refine what those look like.
Okay, so majority of the meeting is the finance.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know how?
It's the financial review, sorry.
And then how long do we want to put some times in on the?
Sure.
Mayor, may I ask you for the return to in-person meetings? I've reached out to departments that have facilities, just trying to get some stats for you. Is there anything else you want us to include in that? Or is it just primarily a discussion on your end? Is there anything new I need to add?
Well, I'm not sure that there's anything new from what you already told us the last time, is there? Okay. I mean, in terms of the details of rooms, and it's maybe just resubmit that as an attachment. Would that work?
Yeah, and I just know that there was some questions about other facilities that are open, so I didn't know how much we needed to dive into that.
Oh, you're right. Like the Malley Center, was that one of them, or I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I could just give a summary of all facilities, the capacity that they're open. And then we said something about the positivity rate. Does that sound right?
Yeah. I don't know where this is going to go. Yeah, I mean, certainly we can talk about what the
Mayor.
Okay. Yeah.
In addition, because Councilmember Russell needed to call into a regular meeting last night, I went back and reviewed what Ordinance 10 says about in-person meetings, or what it's. Sorry, I have a dog with a ball. Just a moment.
I love it.
But I went back and reviewed what Ordinance 10 says about meetings, and what it specifically says is that you can call in by telephone, even if you're back to regular meetings. So even if you called a regular meeting, Ordinance 10 authorizes city council members to call in or use electronics to get back into the meeting. I'm not sure, but I think if you're discussing going back into meetings, you're going to have to discuss those provisions of Ordinance 10.
Okay.
So do you want me to include that?
That makes sense. Yeah, yes, include that. Yeah, that would be great. I think that discussion's gonna take 30 minutes. I don't know, I might be wrong, but maybe we can make it up. Make up time with it.
Jade, I think on the budget presentation, we're not going to need the 2 hours for that presentation.
Okay.
Was Maria pretty firm on that?
That was just what she had suggested, but if you feel like it would be a bus, I can double check with her today as well, with whatever times you guys feel is appropriate.
I think unless the mayor and the mayor pro tem disagree, I think we can just give you the updates on what we've modified, and we can do that in no more than 30 minutes. Because we won't have to be going over the whole budget again. We'll just need to go over what we've taken out in that split between one time and not going.
Yeah, so 30-minute presentation and then a discussion time too. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
So, 30-minute discussion or an hour discussion? What do you think? Because we need to give you direction at that point, right?
You do. I think probably we could spend, you all could spend 45 minutes in discussion on this.
I was gonna say an hour.
Or an hour, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking an hour.
Okay. All right, that's what I think too. Okay. And then the next one, water and sewer, 15 minutes presentation, 15 minutes discussion. This is finalizing it, isn't it?
It's getting really close to that.
Okay, is he asking for direction? Final direction or?
I can double check.
Is this what he presented to water and sewer board?
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay. All right.
Do you want to move on to September 8th?
Can we hold on to, are we really expecting that only to go 30 minutes between the presentation and the discussion?
No, you're right. I would say his presentation will be 15 minutes for sure. He did it. It was way more than that for the water and sewer board, but it might be that I had seen it before, so maybe he's shortening it because it's what we saw at the South Platte Renew meeting too. Some of it.
Plus B questions came up last night, so I'm expecting the discussion to go. We some of the, I believe it was member Anderson that brought up some of the about sewer fees or utility fees just based off of the S3A, all that conversation that we had last night. So I think there's going to be discussion around the fees. I guess is my point. Longer discussion.
Yeah. So if you're talking about we need to have the other fees in the context of this too, we probably need to talk about the stormwater. That's not the same.
Well,
is that what you're saying? That's
what I'm saying. So I guess, so am I confused here? So this is only water and sewer, so it won't include stormwater.
Right. But you're right, though, that Joe has been asking for the bigger picture. Everybody has been, actually, so. How could we do that, Shawn?
Yeah, I was thinking that when I was reading this, I think maybe if we, and maybe I could ask Allison, if we could, I don't know that we can discuss all of those without being on the agenda, but perhaps we could put water, sewer, utilities, rent fee study. Maybe we could just put a more general rate and fee discussion. I don't know. We need to have it on the agenda though to discuss, stormwater fees, trash, potential trash fees, etc.
Well, so Shawn, I guess just a question. The stormwater, did we already decide to move forward with the rates as is? Was that part of the conversation we had on the 10th?
No, you have another discussion to have on stormwater.
Okay.
It's just that I don't think that they've changed from what we told you last year that would be annual increases. but
So-
you still have to make those decisions.
So where is it on the calendar then? So if it's gonna be coming up later, then I guess we just keep it off for now. Just keep the current schedule. So do we have it in?
I'm just doing a quick glance through to see. I'm not sure if we do.
I was gonna
I
say,
don't think it's been entered in.
I don't either.
I don't think so.
so then the earliest we can have that discussion would be the 8th.
Yes.
Or I mean, the only time we can have that discussion is the 8th.
Let me get with Maria DeAndre and double check that. But Jade, what I think if you can do is just put water and sewer, utilities, and other. I don't know.
I did go back and look at the form that was submitted to me, and the description. This is what they sent. So they're looking for feedback on preliminary results of the study. That's what was submitted to me. I did just want to verify that too. But
Yeah,
I can add that as other.
I think he's just copying and pasting that
Oh, got you.
from the previous sentence because we're not preliminary anymore. Yeah, I think that what you're writing there is just fine.
Okay.
We just need to work with him to modify the title. And then Mayor will make sure that you have that as part of your discussion, those other fees.
Okay. Does that work with Daniel?
It does.
And then I think, Jade, they wanted to increase the discussion time to 30 minutes or something.
Yes.
I can hear.
Do we want to tentatively have stormwater fees on the 8th then, or no?
I think I'd like to get with Maria DeAndre first.
Okay.
All right. Are we on to
Right.
the 8th then?
Yes, we might actually have a communications department update.
Or-
This is one we've moved around a lot.
We have. He's been very patient, but he's been out of town, so.
He has. Then we have the amendment to Title 16 floodplain regulations. This is to change the floodplain. Oh, second reading. Will this go on consent?
Nope. This is a public hearing. I apologize. This is not a second reading.
Okay,
This will be the public hearing.
all right. And then the Citizen of the Year proclamation will be on this agenda. Approval of benefits prime contract. This is one of the modules of UltiPro that we're asking you to proceed with. So we will need to get direction during the budget discussion next week on whether or not you're okay with this. There are a number of modules that were requested. This is the only one that I've said that I would recommend approval of. And then we have approval of Unum life and supplemental insurance contract. This is to change some of our life and supplemental insurance for city employees. And it's net cost savings to the city to make that change. And then moving down, we have renewal of alley grading and stabilization contract with Colts and Steel for Zone 1 work. And then the salary resolutions will be.
Sorry.
And so can we put Allison, will we put all of those resolutions for salary into one, or will those be three separate, like listed?
Those are three separate. It's three separate decisions.
Okay.
It's all in consent.
Yeah.
Everybody agreed to it.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean somebody won't pull it, but
And then we have resolution for Keep Inglewood Beautiful to apply for a $10,000 KAB grant. And authorize application for the Bureau of Reclamation's Water Smart Water Efficiency. That's to convert the flat rate customers to metered customers. And then executive session for attorney-client privilege communication.
okay, this is quite a docket. We have a public hearing and an executive session. Do we think there'll be much for the public hearing?
The public hearing before the P&Z is tonight, And I will let you guys know how many people show up to talk about the floodplain regulations before P&Z. That may give us some idea of how many people may be interested in discussing this in front of the City Council. It's actually, I don't think, going to be a change that a lot of people are going to be concerned about. It basically allows the city council adopts the FEMA regulations, but this allows as those regulations are updated, they automatically update for the city instead of the city having to go back and go through the multiple steps. So I don't think it's going to bring about a lot of interest from the public because it's a really administrative decision. And then I met with the folks about the executive session yesterday, and I'm going to keep updating that on iCompass as I learn more. I did tell them to plan on it being limited to 30 minutes and that they're going to have to land on just one or two items, and if we need more time, we'll have to talk about it at a subsequent meeting.
Okay. How does that look in terms of timing then, the whole thing? We do have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, do we have 5 things on consent, is that right?
If you would like to put the renewal, I'm more than happy to move that there. And then I was also wondering, this will not be, I apologize, this is different. So this will not be on consent.
Why can't we do grants like that on, that's just applying for a grant. Can't we do that on consent?
So
Yes.
Is this the one that you're bringing forward, the new resolution for bringing things to consent?
You know, that had been my plan. I spoke with Dugan yesterday, and I'm honestly not sure if Keep Inglewood Beautiful wants to have a separate resolution that's just specific to this grant. I think it'd be easier on everybody if we just brought forth a across the board right to apply to CDOT resolution. So at this moment, I'm not sure what that will look like, Jade, but I don't know why that couldn't go on consent. It's really just asking permission to apply for a CDOT grant, which is business as usual for the city.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, so that was the only reason why I had that on consent as no on the last agenda. I like to have both of them up, so that's why I had brought that up. But that's perfect. We'll have that on consent, and then also the renewal of alley grades on consent, correct?
It's the same thing we did last year, right? Same company?
Yes, it is.
We're just renewing it. Yeah, I think, and it's budgeted.
Right.
So
I would consider it routine.
You what?
I would consider it routine in nature.
I agree. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possibly on consent. Plus, this is the 8th, right? Plus we have all of the salaries on consent, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We're down to what?
Yes.
2 actual items? 2 motions?
We'll have
3 motions.
3 motions.
Well, the citizen, well, we don't do that under consent agenda, do we?
It'll be under proclamations.
And it'll be a motion to approve it.
We have the public hearing and then the executive session.
And two items. Okay.
Yep.
To me, it doesn't look too bad.
Okay. Yep. Okie doke.
All right.
We're 14th. Still
Have a
canceled.
break. Yes. I am thinking of that I should probably finally go back and see my parents during that time frame since we don't have a council meeting.
That's smart.
Easiest time to do that.
Unfortunately, I start school that day.
Oh no. And then looking at the 21st of September, we've got a city center development redevelopment update. And 2020, this will be 2021 budget public hearing will take place. I should mention we're going to get some information between the last presentation that we looked at on the agenda and this one that will include the property taxes, which this is not a revaluation year, but people that have bought house property or property has changed hands, it is going to affect your property tax, and we're hopeful that that will help further close that gap, but I'm not terribly hopeful. But so when you see the public hearing here, it's going to have some differences between the last one, but it should be to the good. We also on floodplain, another item we have is CB 27, floodplain language adoption, resolution for a contract approval for permit and land management system, and building and fire code adoption.
That'll be going on to the 28th.
Yeah. So far, just 4 items on the 21st. On the 28th, we have building and fire code adoption, August 2020 financial review. We'll have our presentation from the staff at Innovative Housing Concepts, Housing Authority. That's on October 5th.
Yep.
And also on October 5th, we have resolution to approve the Historic Preservation Commission applying for a $15,000 grant from the State Historical Fund, and then a 2021 budget ordinance. First reading. August 13th, model traffic code adoption, public hearing for Huron planned unit development. Oops, so that's the 19th.
Yep.
And then October 20, where's our second reading of the budget?
I typically do not put the second readings on until they've passed the first reading, but I'm more than happy. It would be the following regular meeting though.
Okay.
So what day would that be?
That would be
26th? No,
It'll be the 20th
20,
or the 19th.
19?
October 19th.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there it is.
So why do we have October 13th on there? Shouldn't it be the 12th? Is it a
I
Tuesday?
believe October
Hold on.
12th is a Inglewood holiday. I may be wrong, but I believe it is.
Is it Columbus Day?
Columbus- Yeah.
I think so.
It's not a holiday. that
I'm
we
sorry.
care about. That's okay.
It isn't one? Okay, good. Otherwise, we need to change that.
Agree.
Sorry.
All right, so I think all we have left on here is the 26th, 28th September financial review, the ethics policy. Allison's planning on bringing that forward, and then a public hearing for some townhomes as well. Do you want to move into November? Folks are really entering their items, and I'm really proud of them.
I know, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Because we could look at them just to get a bird's eye,
Yeah.
since they're there and they did them.
I do want to talk, I know we have some duplicate study sessions, sorry. So we have the Inglewood Municipal Code coming, but we also were tentatively planning for this to be the study session to go do the board and commission interviews, and that'll typically take 3 hours. Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
Huh.
Start
That's
early.
right. That means we have to start recruiting really soon.
Mm-hmm.
So applications will start to be received from September 8th to October 26th. So
Okay. And then remind me what their start date is?
they'll be appointed by resolution on December 7th. And I believe I could be wrong, but January start, but Stephanie may need to.
It's a February appointment, but we had manipulated the dates to make sure we weren't right in the middle of holiday season.
Right.
Yeah, okay. We could go 1 week later on that. If we had to.
Well, if we do that, then we get into a council meeting.
Yeah, is the 16th a council meeting or is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, the
It is.
2nd is a council meeting, so it's the 16th. Yeah, that won't work. Okay.
Also, you could create a standalone meeting just for the interviews, which I know you've done in the past, if needed.
Yeah, let's see how many apply.
Okay.
We need to get the word out this time and have everybody, yeah. We've gotten the word out before. I think council can help with that. All right.
Do you want to look at future or jump
Yeah,
to?
probably be good to do that.
Okay.
Are we doing the calendar again this year? I would assume.
Yes, it has moved to communications, but we are doing it.
Okay. Because don't we do a calendar event in, I don't remember when we do it. It's probably, is it January that we do the calendar event or?
I am not remembering.
Yes.
I'm not either. I just like.
I believe, yeah, Krista typically ran that, and that's moving to communications, but I believe it was a rollout in January because that's when the calendars are ready to go. But I don't want to speak for them.
It's fine. Be good for them to let us know so we know. I mean, it's going to be different if it's virtual or so we can't be handing out stuff to little kids and.
Well, and I'm hoping that they can submit artwork if they're.
I know. We have a paperless campus this fall. Okay, well, let's look at, I don't see anything in here.
Interestingly, we are providing the BAC, the Budget Advisory Committee, with food truck regulation and registration information. So I think they are going to maybe take a look at that. So probably good to have that on your future study session because you might be getting something back on that.
Okay.
And then still no word from Excel on when they're going to use that power line.
Oh my gosh, they're probably way behind. COVID probably put them way out. And I don't remind me what the review of fire services is. Did that just come up recently?
It did. It was added the very last time we were all together. Sorry.
Fire services.
I think was that?
Oh, you know what? I think that's. Well, I think was that in context of the ambulance services as part of the police reform
Yes.
discussion?
Well, yes, and I think we suggested maybe we do an overview since we have people who weren't around when we contracted. I think I might have been the only one. But just what does our fire service look like? It'd probably be it's probably just an informational thing.
John Collins and Alex have been working on that.
Yes, and there's a council request on that from either John Stone or Rita Russell. And yeah, we're actually getting ready to kind of push the envelope with Denver about if they have the STAR program with their Denver Fire program, we think we might ought to have that too per our contract.
Okay.
So it'd be kind of interesting.
So it comes through their fire services.
Yes. And our contract says that we have the same services that they do, that Denver residents do. So
interesting.
Yeah, John Collins came up with that, and Alex has been great to help him work through that. And I think the verdict is, yes, we think we may qualify for that program.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. Well, so let's keep that on the radar on whenever you get more information. But I do think helping all of us understand what we get under the fire services, how the ambulances work, how our current setup is in the fire buildings.
Yeah, that might be one you want to pull forward sooner than later, but.
Okay, how soon do you think we can do that? Do you see any others, Nathaniel, that should come forward earlier? This is the only one I see.
No, I think the Green City Sustainable Practices is part of the redevelopment conversation, potentially.
Well, let's not forget that as we do that.
Mm-hmm.
We're, so it'd be
You
Title
just-
16 kind of stuff?
Yeah, potentially. I guess I know that a lot of it has revolved around the redevelopment. So I guess Shawn, when Dan and the team come back, maybe they could just speak to this a little bit. But no, I don't think we speak of it during the redevelopment talk. But I think, yeah, you're right. Probably a larger conversation about Title 16.
On the sustainability stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also going to be an element of the strategic plan that, because there's a whole section on that, and Councilmember Wink has already turned in some thoughts on that. I think it could also be part of your strategic plan updates, which we're getting. The new assistant to the city manager is getting a plan together of a schedule for bringing those updates to you on a, I think, semi-annual basis with written reports provided quarterly.
Okay. Well, so go back to the fire services. Where do you think that might be able to come in?
Jade, can you roll up?
Yep.
To,
And we're wanting sooner rather than later, so are we thinking September?
yeah, let's look at September.
So we
That
have.
would actually be a little soon. Actually, the 8th is probably too soon for staff.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
look at the 21st.
How about the 28th or 21st or
28th
study session, right?
You know what? That would be good because we'll have the fire marshal
Yeah.
at this one. So yeah, we could do that.
Let's do it on the 28th.
I'm gonna just scroll down really quick. Sorry guys, I don't have my normal mouse with me, so that's why it's being a little jumpy and fighting with me this morning.
That's right. And then I'm looking at that bright yellow framed art. There's no reason why we can't recognize him now. I didn't know he was doing those plaques. Maybe it went in one ear and out the other.
Nope. So yeah, I've been highlighting it just because we haven't had a chance to be able to go over and talk about it, but it is the newest recognition that we've been able to put on here. So would you guys like to do something virtual, or would you prefer to do something when we're back?
I would love to put it on the schedule, on whether we're back or virtual. That wouldn't matter to me. I think.
I agree.
Yeah, let's just figure out a time we can do it. He's just such a wonderful, generous person in our community.
Would you like for that to go in September as well?
I think September 8th might be too much, though.
Would you like for the in the recognition for September 21st? Or would you like to go to October?
Maybe the 21st, and then let's see what happens. I wonder what will happen with the public hearing for the budget, but yeah, let's just put it in there for now. Thanks, Jade.
Yep.
Are you okay with that, Othaniel?
I am.
Sounds good. And then we had are we ready to do council requests?
We can do that.
I think we only had 2, right? And they were all yours, Othaniel?
Those are the only 2 I had.
Yes, and he was kind enough to enter those in for the council tracker after the meeting. So yeah, if I don't think we have any others though.
I didn't hear any
that are coming back to you for this week for a response.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear all that.
I'm sorry, I'm muttering. We've got a number to respond to for this week that we're almost done ready last week, but not quite. So we'll have quite a few to give you this week.
Okay.
So I was going to say, I have, I guess, a future study session item. Was it the merit increase or moving to that?
Oh, yeah, I brought that up last night too, right? Yeah. It would be nice to talk about our process for that.
Yes, and our HR director and I have had a number of discussions about that. If it's okay with you all, can we do that after the budget?
Yeah.
After you get the budget, so we can do that, November, December timeframe, and then everybody knows what to expect and plan for
So should we say executive level merit increases? That be an accurate term?
I wouldn't mind having Councilmember Wink has expressed interest in, such a system for all staff. And I kind of thought that that's what you all were saying yesterday, was you're interested in such a system for MSC and MSCH employees, plus the employees that you supervise. But
I thought that we had one.
well, I'm sure at various times we've had different programs, but not in the last few years, as I understand. And there was some sort of bonus, like a spot bonus structure. We just discontinued that, I think, a couple of years ago.
Okay. Well, then let's just make an overall general merit increase discussion. Is that what you'd like? Is that what you're asking for?
Well, I think what you're saying when you talk about executive is you're trying to be respectful that that's really the city manager function for the employees, as opposed to the council policy. The problem is that the policy, that even if we do an internal policy, it's going to have a budgetary impact. So that's why I would be fine having council, give us some feedback, because typically what I have seen work best is just to set aside a pool of money that can be spent, a not to exceed number that's based on some, ratio or percentage of those employees, up to 5%, say, or something like that.
That's what I'm used to.
So yeah, we can do that, but maybe Jade, if you can put that on future study session items to talk about pay for performance systems.
Everybody, I think that's two separate conversations. About a year ago, when the city council was looking at its policy manual, there were 2 or 3 policies that got pulled out. And all 3 of those have been mentioned in the last month. So at some point we're gonna have to bring them back. But one is, there is no process for discussing executive, that would be city attorney, city manager, and the judge. There's really no process for discussing wage increases or lack thereof. And the judge mentioned he thought there was a policy, but there isn't. It was pulled. There's a discussion about annual reviews, but that's it. And it leaves the council hanging in an uncomfortable position every year when the subject comes up. So I think that policy needs to be revisited and a process established so that the members of the council aren't caught flat-footed with that every year. And I think that's a secondary issue from whether or not MSC, MSCH receive a merit increase, because much of MSC, MSCH by charter is under the direct control of the city manager. So I think those have to be separated out.
I agree, and I would prefer for them to be separate so that there's not any mix-up about what your authority is, Shawn. I'm glad to have us give input and create policy to help and support whatever you need and what we think together is important for the city overall. But I don't want to get mixed up in, I don't think we'd have this on this council, but mixed up in who gets paid for performance and who gets raises. I'd like there to be more of a choice within your, whatever you think is best within your system that helps you do what you want to do in developing your team.
Right, but it will have a budgetary impact, so it will still have to be discussed with council at some level, but I appreciate it.
if you can do, I mean, I like your idea of, setting some limits and saying you've got some leeway within this. Is that okay the way she's writing it there then?
That's just what I was about to ask.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna put this description there for both.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, anything else? Nothing else. It's 9:12 and the mayor manager meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Everybody.
Okay.
Bye-bye.